Yo, what up? Here is a mental shift that took me from an employee to a business owner. I was trying business method after business method. I was getting stuck. I knew something had to change, so I decided to change something. And what I did was I started getting out there more. And I'm going to show you 3 things I did to make this happen, and more important, make it effective. So let's jump into it. The first thing I did was I started looking at live events that would be like conventions or big meetings or whatever. For the field of interest that I had, I started looking for live events or conventions or whatever that might be. I found the biggest ones. And so once I did that, made my list, I said, hey, these are the top 5 biggest events in my area of interest. That's number 1. Number 2, I started identifying key influencers in my area of interest. So I did some research, and again, with identifying the events or finding the key influencers, you can use ChatGPT, you can use Perplexity, you can use Google. There's all types of resources that will show you. YouTube, you'll start to find out who the key players are in your industry. So again, I use those resources to find the top conventions or events. Then I use those same resources to find the key players. Once I identified the key players, I then went and took a look at their content. And what will happen is I saw like 10 people who kept coming up as influencers in my space. It was a little over 10. So let's say I went to a channel and I turned it on, and within the first 10 seconds, I know I don't like this person. Well, then they were out. But if I went to somebody's channel and I turn it on and I see, I'm still on there 5 minutes later, I found myself watching 2 more videos, then I would note that person down. What I'm trying to say is once you identify key influencers, there's going to be some people that you like, and there's going to be some people that you don't like. So make note of the people that you like, and then say, okay, here are the top events. Here are the people I like. Which event is showing or hosting more of the people I like? Look, within our niches, within our spaces, the world is small. So the people who are key influencers, they'll be going to each. If there's 5 conventions in your area of interest, you'll find the same key influencers going or speaking or keynoting at these conventions. And my point here is once I figured out the best convention to go to, I was like, okay, which one of these contains the most amount of people or the most amount of influencers I want to see? That was that. So now I have my list of events I need to go to. I have my list of key influencers I want to see. I've got it all matched up. I said, hey, this is the event that has the most influencers I want to see. The third thing I did was I set very clear intent when I went to that event. I had 2 goals. I was going to go and ask the speaker a killer question, and then I was going to talk to anybody who sat next to me. Those were my 2 goals. Now look, I am an introvert, and this shit is terrifying. I don't want to go out and speak to strangers. I don't want to go on a microphone and talk to a key speaker on stage. I don't want to do any of that. But for me to make an advancement, I had to get uncomfortable. And getting uncomfortable there's always, I'm not going to get on my high horse here, but in any area of growth, you have to get uncomfortable. If you want to lose weight, you deal with the discomfort of dieting. If you want to gain muscle, you deal with the discomfort of going to the gym. If you want to make money and you want to grow a business, you deal with the discomfort of getting out of your comfort zone and doing things that would scare you. This is one of the things that scared me. I would go to the event. Again, I had 2 goals. Ask a killer question to the speaker on stage, or ask a question to anybody I sat next to, and ask a question to anybody I sat next to. So let me give you an example. When you go to these events or conventions, you'll have a speaker on stage, and your 2 opportunities to speak to them will come in one of these 2 ways. One will be, they'll say, the speaker will talk, and he or she will say, hey, does anybody have any questions? There's usually a microphone that's there. You walk up to the microphone, you ask your question. That's 1, terrifying. 2, the speaker will come off the stage and there'll be a line of people waiting to talk to the speaker. So you get in the line of people and then you go ask the speaker that question. And for me, it was helpful to have a question ready. So this was one of my favorite. I had a list of questions, but this is one of the questions that gave me the biggest bang for my buck when I talked to these speakers or when I had the opportunity to interact with these speakers. The question was, if you could go back in time and give yourself one tip when you were building your business, what would that tip be? That question gave me a lot of insight because remember, this person, this speaker was once where you're at. They started from zero, right? And so they've had a lot of experience that helped them, be successful and get on that stage. And so you can learn, you can glean from their success and ask them when they were at your stage of business, what's one thing they would have told themselves? Man, the answers I got back were super helpful. And the answers I got back were things that you would never find on YouTube or any course or whatever. This is real stuff, real feedback, things they never really say. And once I got the answers to that helped me significantly in my business. And it made people notice me because I was asking a killer question. People they'll know that. And then if you start going to more events and they start seeing you again and again, then you have the opportunity to form a friendship. But you get on the map, you get on board by asking a killer question at first, then going to the next conference with another question. This person will start to see you. Then you might have the opportunity to have a relationship or build a relationship with them. That was one thing. So asking the speakers a killer question. The second thing was I would just talk to anybody I sat next to. Again, I'm an introvert. This isn't normal for me, but I just made myself do it. So if I sat next to somebody, say I had people on my left or right side, whichever I was more drawn to for whatever reason, whatever I was feeling, I would just say, hey, so what brings you to this event? And that's it. That's simple. And if it didn't really go anywhere, the conversation would die down. I'd ask the next person on my other side, hey, so what brings you to this event? Now, check this out. And this is what this whole process of discovering events and finding key influencers and then going there with clear intent did a lot for me. One thing is it got me out of my comfort zone. I got reps in getting out there and talking to people in front of people. Again, I know I keep saying it, but I'm an introvert. And if you are looking to build your business, you're going to have to do things that are uncomfortable. And for me, this is something that was uncomfortable, but it becomes more comfortable as you get more reps in. So getting reps and asking these questions to people at these events was huge. Then also, going to these things. I wouldn't be here talking to you right now had I not gone to these events, because one of these events I went to, I met somebody who became my business partner. And that business partner helped me get out of corporate America when I partnered up with them. That was huge. I would have never had that. That would have never happened if I didn't go to the event. I wouldn't be on camera. Like right now, talking to you, I'm looking at you, which means I'm looking at a camera. This is not natural. This is not easy. Do I want to make this video? No. You know what today is? It's Saturday. It's 9:30 on a Saturday. 5 years ago, I'd have never been doing this. I wouldn't have been working. I'll probably still be in bed, all that, but no growth in the comfort zone. So here I am getting a rep in and making a video and telling you about my experience and doing something that I'm just not super comfortable with. And then what it also helped me do is, as time has gone on, I still go to events. I have the opportunity to get in rooms that I normally would have never gotten into. And I've learned my interaction style with people. So again, me being an introvert, I have to practice. And my style, when it comes to having conversations with complete strangers or people who are further along in business than me, is the Socratic method. I just ask questions. And I try to find out things that, through those questions, I try to find out things that people are passionate about. And then I'll ask more questions about the things that they are passionate about. Now, what happens is the person interacts with me. I'm asking them these questions. They'll walk away and say, hey, man, that was a really good conversation. And I didn't really say shit. All I did was ask questions. But what I did was I gave this person the opportunity to talk about something that they love. I don't care what it is. It could be business. It could be their family. It could be some sport they do. It could be some hobby they have. But once I discover something that this person's really interested in, I just start asking more. And I'm not just asking more for the hell of it. Like, I'm genuinely interested. I met a cat who's all into grass, not the grass that you smoke. I'm talking about regular grass outside your crib. Like, he's into that. And so, man, all right, well then what is it? Tell me about it, the different types. Like getting into that with him and letting him speak. And he walked away thinking it was the best conversation ever. And I learned something. My point here is when you go out there and you go to these events, and if you're an introvert or an extrovert, whatever it is, you will learn your interaction style, and then you just leverage that and you keep doing it and doing it until the discomfort just becomes comfortable, right? It's all about reps. So anyways, that helped me tremendously in business. If I could do it again, I would have gotten out there much sooner. And so I hope this helps. Take it for what it's worth. Appreciate you watching. Peace.